Evening, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final round of the season here at Gavra Racing League for the Tier 1 Championship around this Imola circuit. As you can see, the weather is wet, and we've got a championship finale ready to excite and throw up all sorts of chaos in variable conditions. I'm Jack TO53, your commentator, as always, for the Tier 1 and Tier 2 Championship here on a Sunday with Gavra 1. What will be the final race on F1 22 for the weekend league. But before we go into anything further, I want to give you a rundown of the championship standings, and it's important that we take note of the two championship protagonists fighting it out for the overall honours tonight. Shortbread 224 is the man who leads the championship on 152 points. He is 19 points clear of GRL Viper on 133 after that incredible finale last week at Jeddah, where both drivers were separated by 0.019 of a second. What a finish that was. That has set things up in Shortbread's favour. Now, if GRL Viper wins and takes fastest lap, then to be champion, Viper would need to have Shortbread finish in 7th position. That's the only way, or any lower than 7th place. If GRL Viper finishes 2nd and gets fastest lap, then he'll draw level on points with Shortbread. However, he wouldn't win the championship because of the points in terms of the team race victories. At the moment, Shortbread has more race victories than Viper does for this season, so he would win on campback. So it's win or bust for Viper tonight, and he is fastest so far in this session. Third place in the championship, who's not in the fight but could get into 100 points tonight, is Ben Roberts, 44 on 92 points. Josh Chukvos is 4th on 69, and Jolts is 5th on 54 points. For the constructors, there is a fight going on between Mercedes and Red Bull. Mercedes on 162 with Red Bull on 150, so it's all up for grabs this evening for both constructors and drivers championships. McLaren are 3rd on 118 with Ferrari 4th on 92, and Williams are 5th on 87 points. So that is the situation as it stands, and Shortbread takes the provisional fastest lap on the race. First driver into the 1 minute 26. This is by 1,000th of a second at the moment, but everybody else is out on circuit just getting themselves up to speed. There's 2 Aston Martins out for the first time this season in Tier 1. Not only have we got the typical Psycho in there, we've also got our piece of 13 joining us, which is good to see. A couple of other drivers who've made the jump into tonight's races. We've got from, where is he? Just looking to see, there's JMB Surreal there in 7th place. He was racing in Tier 2 earlier. We also have a debutant of the Predator, 132 in the Alfa Romeo. He's made an appearance, so we'll see how those drivers get on. And also, just to make a quick mention of another driver who's popped up from Tier 2 into Tier 1 tonight, the Steps VRBS has decided to join in. So hopefully he'll be able to put to bed some of the bad omens that he had from the Tier 2 race earlier on this season. Just didn't seem to go his way earlier for the Steps, but he's in for Tier 1. So it'll be exciting to see how he gets on. But on to more important matters, which is this qualifying session. Obviously, the extreme wet Pirelli tyre is out. The blue wall tyre that you can see running on the side of the Haas there as Jolt comes towards turn number 1. The Haas is up to 3rd. He's fighting for 4th in the championship as Jolt. He's a couple of points behind Joss, who's right with him in terms of lap time. So those two are going to be fighting all the way through this race. But at the moment, conditions are quite heavy. There seems to be some form of grip in the slower corners from what a couple of drivers have reported back on the post-race feed, or rather the pre-race feed, I should say. And as Psycho puts himself into 2nd place, that puts a car between the two championship protagonists of Shortbread and Viper, but it's still early days. Viper very much looking forward to these conditions. Shortbread's saying he's not as keen. But with 10 minutes still remaining in this session, there's a long, long way to go. But Emisu just working up to an outlap terror. Teddy, the only other driver as well, yet to set a lap time, but he is on one at the moment. He's just coming towards as we ride with him. He's just coming towards Variante Alta chicane at turns 14 and 15. Difficult corner to get that lined up in terms of the apex is there in terms of these wet weather conditions, but Teddy didn't do too badly then. Down on the brakes into second gear for Teddy, and around this final corner a little bit hesitant turning in, but that's understandable in these conditions. It's definitely going to be, well, it would have been an improvement had he have not gone into the pit lane, so he's decided to abandon that lap. But everybody working their way around the circuit as Shortbread improves by about 2/10, just less than 2/10. So the Mercedes extends his gap to 4/10 over Psycho in second, and Viper just coming out of the pits now to go on to another set of qualifying laps. Of course, the good thing about the wet weather conditions for everybody in qualifying this evening, because of the weather scenario that we're in at the moment, that's someone who's just had a spin in sector 2 there. That's Xnati G, who's gone round at the exit of turn 9 and 10 through Piratella. But the good thing about the wet weather conditions tonight is that, unlike the dry Pirelli compound, the soft compound that typically drivers use for qualifying, these wet weather tyres can go for a couple of laps before the performance disappears. So if you fill up the car with fuel, you can just keep pounding around, get a couple of laps in, and that will give you a bit of a feeling for how the car will work in what is supposedly going to be a wet race. So that will be very fascinating. 50% race, of course, around Imola, 32 laps that we will have as XRTG goes on to his push lap. And you guys are just watching the AlphaTauri coming through the final corner. I think that's JMB Surreal, who we're riding with as he just puts himself up into 8th place. Billy Misu, his teammate, just ahead of him as well. But a couple of drivers on out laps, just getting themselves up to speed. What about JRL Viper, the man who's fighting for this championship? Realistically needs to win this race to have any chance of doing anything stopping Shortbread from taking another championship. But it doesn't look like he's on a push lap. So here he goes. Viper now going onto a flying lap. So let's see how he gets on with that. Now, of course, the drivers having to combat these conditions have to try and apply a wet setup to their car, if they can. And Shortbread, of course, going for his 4th championship within Gavra Racing. Whereas Viper is looking for his 1st championship on the weekend league. So there's a lot of pressure on both drivers to get themselves into the Hall of Fame. But we're watching Viper at the moment. He is doing okay on this lap, but it's not an improvement. And sure enough, he abandons the lap by taking the lawnmower racing line through the Variante Alta. So he'll get back into the pits. Just less than 6.5 minutes of remaining in this session. Enough time for the drivers to get back, get fuel in the car, and go out for another set of laps. Xnati G has moved up to 4th place. There's the Season 9 champion of Billy Misu in 5th position. Had a bit of a tough season, has Billy, but he's had some good points when he's competed. He's out on circuit in 5th position at the moment. There's Jolt in 6th. Joss in 7th, took that first podium last week, and he bounces up the field a little bit there into 5th place in the Ferrari. Of course, one of the home favourites as well, being based Imola in Italy. The Tifosi will be here in force. They'll be cheering on the number 2 of Joss, who's just moved down to 6th because Ben Roberts puts his McLaren onto the 2nd row of the grid there on a 127.3. But Joss won't be the only driver supported by the Tifosi. They'll also be looking at Harry in 14th, who has been improving step by step in that 2nd Ferrari car, in the sister car to Joss. It's CT Pat in 15th place. He's right on the back of the field, is CT Pat. He's not too far away from the cars in front of him, so that's a good effort in qualifying for Pat. Terra Teddy yet to set a lap time. The two Alpines currently occupying the back row of the grid. Let's see what Terra Teddy does as he comes towards the line. This looks like a decent lap. And it is, puts him 13th on the grid. And Viper goes fastest by 1,000th of a second. As if the margins weren't close enough last week, boys. You've managed to make it 1,000th of a second in qualifying. That is absolutely unbelievable. That puts the two championship protagonists, and that Psycho goes quicker. The top three are separated incredibly by 200ths of a second. Psycho was looking very quick last week. It all went wrong for him in Jeddah. But that is some promise fulfilled there from the Aston Martin. Still a couple of minutes remaining in the session. Enough time for the drivers to get round and set another qualifying lap. The other Aston Martin currently on the 6th row of the grid are Peter. It's currently Shari and CT Pat who occupy the 8th row of the grid at the moment. Well, Viper and Psycho put themselves in front of Shortbread, showing that the Aston Martin isn't a slouch, not just in the dry conditions, but in the wet conditions as well. Just looking to see where there's a couple of drivers in the pits at the moment, some of them preparing their out laps. Terra Teddy moves up to 10th place, that's an improvement. The steps in the top 10. Just a couple of tenths clear of his sparring partner J&B Surreal, who also races in Tier 2. There's the Haas of Sachetto on the screen for you there in 14th place. He finished 8th place last week, did Sachetto. It was a really good set of races for the Haas driver. Had a little bit of a, I wouldn't call it a dip in form this season, but it's been very up and down. But it was a really good performance from him last Sunday out at Jeddah. He's on a lap at the moment, so we can ride on board with him, hopefully. He's just coming through turn 9 at Piratella. Very careful over the little kink at turn 10. He's got to be careful with running over those curbs. They are very, very difficult to run over on the wet conditions. Sachetto is improving here. This is looking like a decent lap from him. He's about 4 tenths up on his lap so far. Runs a little wide out of turn 15. Builds up the revs, 7th gear, probably up to 8th gear before he gets to turn 17, which he does on the brakes, down into 3rd gear. Runs a little bit deep into 17, but that's fine. Short shifts to 4th gear, out of the final corner at turn 18, and a short run to the checkered flag. That's a 129.1, so he lost a bit of time in the end. He doesn't move up, so could have been into 13th place, but no can do so far. Everyone now looking for a little bit more time. Less than 2 minutes to go in this session. Who's going to get that all-important pole position? Going to be absolutely frenetic now in the remaining couple of corners. I'm watching the Aston Martin of Psycho coming around this final corner. I know you're watching one of the Williamses of ex-Natty G. He's going to go on to his push lap now. He's got Jolt just a little bit further ahead of him. I think the Predator is also on a flying lap as well. So a couple of drivers now in their elements, trying to push on, get the best lap time that they can. Predator is improving on his lap, just going to skip through the drivers. Jolt is a little bit down, and Psycho has hit the wall and is out. Psycho is out of the session. He's hit the wall on the exit of turn 4 at Tamburello, and he's going to be at risk of losing that pole position. Viper goes onto his flying lap. Shortbread in the first sector. He'll just want to track what Viper does, and he is improving on this lap. That's a good first sector from the Mercedes, almost third of a second up at that point. Just going to watch Viper's sector time as he goes into the Villeneuve chicane. He's also improving, but not by as much as Shortbread. I think Psycho's at risk at losing his pole position. He's going to kick himself with that mistake. That's the Williams getting out of the way. Good effort from Jolt to move into 4th place in the 26s. And he's flat. Shortbread is absolutely flying. He has found some time in that Mercedes W13. Just looking to see, I don't think Viper's time's flashed up for me there. So what can Shortbread do? He comes towards the line. This is going to be a 126.2. Great effort from him to go provisional pole. Can anybody else get anywhere near that? Viper is the one that I'm watching. Our Peter's coming around the final corner as well. So it'll be our Peter who'll cross the line. This is going to be an improvement. And he goes up to 13. And Viper doesn't improve. He stays on the 2nd row of the grid. And that is that for qualifying. In terms of those that could challenge for the lead, Chetto's just going to run across the line, but he's not going to improve. So it's Shortbread who takes first blood. That is an incredible lap. He's half a second clear of the Aston Martin of Psycho. Viper will be joined on the 2nd row of the grid with the Haas of Jolt in 4th. Ben Roberts and X90G are the 3rd row of the grid, all on the 126s. And the Steps is very happy with his top 10 qualifying place on Tier 1 debut. That was a good effort from the Czech driver. But if we just have a quick run through of the order there, Shortbread in 1st place, Psycho 2nd, has a car between himself and Viper. Then it's 4th for Jolt, 5th is Ben Roberts, Natty G is 6th. Then on the 4th row of the grid, you've got Joss and Billy Misu, JMB Surreal and the Steps in the 5th row of the grid. Really good effort from JMB Surreal and the Steps, both racing Tier 2, racing in Tier 1 tonight. Terra Teddy and the Predator are 11th for 12th, with R. Peter and Shari up to 14th. Pat and Chetto round out the 16 runners for this evening. And it's quite a close grid as well, as 2.5 seconds separates 1st from 16th, so that's quite a good spread. 2 seconds between 2nd and 15th, because Shortbread's lap was phenomenal. But we will be getting ready for the race. So the rain is here at Imola for this race. It looks like it could be somewhere between intermediate and wet weather conditions. We'll soon find out what the drivers have selected for their tyre compounds. But all eyes will be on that launch. Who will be best out of Shortbread and Psycho? Whether Viper can get a good launch from the 2nd row remains to be seen. But we will soon find out in the next few seconds. It's the Mercedes on the right-hand side and the Aston Martin on the left for the final time this season. And the race is live from Imola. Looks like a relatively even start, but that's a good launch from Viper. Psycho's going to try and go past the pair of them, and he does. Viper's up to 2nd. He's in front of his... Oh, there's a huge wiggle for Psycho. He just about saved it. Shortbread's trying to go around the outside. Contact between the two. They just about keep it in a straight line, the pair of them, but Shortbread's in front. That was a huge moment for Psycho. How he held it, I don't know. But Shortbread is up to 2nd. Psycho's down to 3rd, Jolt's 4th, then it's Ben, then it's Terra Teddy, who's had a great start. He's going to look to go around the outside of the McLaren for 5th place. What a drive off the corner this is. Trying to line each other up, but Ben Roberts stays in front for the time being. Wow, what a start that was. That could have been absolute disaster. Shortbread, who was right behind Psycho when that wiggle happened. Shortbread did hit the back of him. I don't think he's got any damage by the looks of it on the front wing. There was a little bit of contact. But everybody facing the right way at this lap so far. Terra Teddy in 6th place, Billy Misu 7th, JMB Surreal is 8th, the Predators in the top 10, and Pat's up to 10th as well. What a start for him. That's fabulous to see. He's up 5 places, what a launch. Josh has lost 4, Natty G's lost 6. I didn't quite catch what's going on. There's the predicted pit stop strategy for everybody to see. Well, if you could see it on your screen, I can't. But they are expecting to do one stop here as Natty G gets himself past Josh, and Josh is into the pits. Josh with front wing damage. Viper is gone already though. He is putting the work in early on. He's 1.2 seconds clear at the end of the first lap. Then Psycho's there behind in 3rd position. Jolt's there in 4th place. We're just watching the rain. Doesn't look too bad at the moment. Ben Roberts is in 5th. Terra Teddy with a good start. Terra Teddy up 5 places as well. So great start for the Alpine driver. It's Billy Misu, JMB Surreal, the Predator. Pat is in the top 10. So far, so good in these opening couple of laps. And Josh is now back out on circuit, but it's such a shame for him with his front wing damage. He's going to have to hope for realistically a safety car to get him back in the hunt. He's 28 seconds behind R. Peter, who's running in 15th place at the moment. So, Viper doing what he has to do at the moment, leading the way. Shortbread just tracking him as much as he needs to. There's a little bit of a gap forming already between Ben Roberts and Terra Teddy, who's under pressure from Billy Misu. As Viper sets a new fastest lap of the race. Ben Roberts goes even quicker, so at McLaren showing some form in the early stages. Knight / asking whether it will be drying in this race. We're not sure really. Looks like there's a little bit of a drier line going down. I wouldn't say it's anywhere near dry tyres at all at the moment. There are... Oh, Viper has picked up a time penalty for multiple warnings already. So Viper pushing on, but arguably a little bit too hard. Let's drop. It's going to be a little bit of a psychological game for Shortbread to know that he could just sit behind Viper for the whole race now if he wants to. But Psycho pushing on in 3rd. It's within half a second of the Mercedes. Loads of little corrections on Psycho's wheel as he's going through the corners. Seems to be a little bit braver, the Aston Martin, in the exit of Aqua Minerale at turn 13. I've noticed him a few times getting the tail out and qualifying. Ben also looking pretty quick. Terra Teddy going off the road. Natty G down in 11th place. Wasn't the best of starts for him. But the top 5 all relatively together. They're all within a second of one another as Viper goes quicker again. But Shortbread's under pressure from Psycho. Psycho going to the outside line for turn number 2. On the brakes, through he goes. And Shortbread just braked a little bit earlier then. He knows what he's got to do. He's going to sit behind that Aston Martin and hopefully he can hang on to the coattails of the Aramco-sponsored rear wing and glide up to the back of the Red Bull. Front 3 have just pulled a little bit of a gap on Jolt, who's 4th. A little bit further back, you've got a couple of other fights going on around this circuit. Got Arpisa with Shari right behind him. Shari looking like the quicker of the two at the moment. Oh, Terra Teddy picks up a time penalty. I've got to say, there were quite a few time penalties during the race earlier in the races in Tier 1 and Tier 2. There was a lot of rain earlier in both of the races as well, so it seems that Imola has brought the weather gods. But Viper at the moment leads the way. Shortbread right on the back of Psycho, but we know what Shortbread's doing. His strategy is just to keep up with the cars in front. also interesting for the constructors as well, because obviously Mercedes lead the way. And there's only one Mercedes, one Red Bull in for this evening, which is Viper and Shortbread, of course. There's only 12 points separating them, and as it stands, the Red Bull team will be 2 points behind Mercedes, so Viper needs another position really for Shortbread to lose. Everyone's still quite close together. CT Pat coming under pressure from X-Natty G there in 10th place, the last spot on the points. And here comes X-Natty G along the inside at Variante Alta. Hard for Pat to defend that one. And sure enough, he goes through, and Sachetto's trying to get the exit out of the corner. Not quite close enough to get past. Jolt keeping the front group honest, as is Ben Roberts for that matter, but Psycho is now under a second behind Viper, who just can't pull away at the moment. Opening stage is just taking the drivers, just feeling their way through the conditions. Chetto goes around the outside of Pat at turn 2, and Billy Misu's left the session. He's had a connection issue. Hopefully Gav can get him invited back into the lobby. He's doing well, Billy. He's running in 7th place at the moment. That's side by side between Sachetto and Pat just now, but Sachetto hanging on to that position. And here comes the steps for 12. See who gets the best exit of the two. Ooh, they just squeezed each other a little bit too much there. Oh, that could have been a mother and a father of an accident, but they both survive. Peter trying to take advantage, but he's not going to get past there, but he is. Pat braked a little bit early, and that's a great move from Peter to get up into 13th place. And Billy Misu fortunately has rejoined, so that's good to see. He's only lost the position to his teammate. So we're coming up to the quarter mark almost of this race at the moment, and the top 5 all within a second of one another. Ben Roberts just looking to a little opening shape against Jolt, but wasn't quite close enough. Next, Terra Teddy running on his own in 6th place. Oh, Billy Misu's off on the exit of turn 4. He's going to get that car out of the grab. That is a very dangerous place to rejoin what Billy Misu just did. But sadly for him, it's dropped him down to 15th. Promotes everybody else up a spot. Oh, big slide for the steps coming off the exit there. CT Pat though is just trying to hang on. He's got Shari all over the back of him in the fight for 13th place. And Pat just starting to slide back a little bit now. He was running in the points. I think I'm right in saying that CT Pat hasn't scored a point yet this season either. Oh, he's all over the curb. Just about trying to hang on. He's been overtaken by Shari. Excuse me, that was absolutely appalling. But currently, the top 5 all just running line astern. And it'll come down again. This is the other thing. If it does dry out, which it looks as if it's doing. I'm watching the current T-cam of Ben Roberts coming down towards turn 1. And it looks as if the rain is light. It's still falling. But if any one of these 5 drivers thinks about getting the jump going onto the dry tyres, could put them in a very good position to be leading this race. They all look very equally matched at the moment. Going to be Surreal running in 7th position. Predator's up to 8th as well on Davies. That's a really good start for him on his debut. There's Natty G 9th. Sachetto in the top 10. He's got the steps all over the back of him though. Everyone just keeping an eye on each other in this leading quintet at the front. The only driver who's not won a race this season in this top 5 is Jolt, I believe. Having said that, I have a sneaking suspicion he might have won a race at the start of the season in the opening round. I'm sure Gav will be able to check that for us. But the other 4 certainly have, as Psycho sets a new fastest lap of the race. Here he comes. Psycho's in the wheel tracks of Viper. He's going to look to the outside line at turn 2. On the brakes around the outside. Keep it clean. They just about do in a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, but they survive it. Viper stays in front for now. But for how much longer? Because Psycho is looking very racy at the moment. He doesn't care about the championship fight. And the other thing, Viper knows if he doesn't win this race, it's going to look very difficult for him to do anything. And that's Joss, who's absolutely flat. Ben Roberts has lost connection. Oh, that is a shame. He was right on the leading pack. He's going to lose a lot of time as well. So hopefully we can get Ben Roberts back into the lobby. As Joss also just briefly flashed up to fastest lap of the race. Joss is flying at the moment. Gav is just trying to sort out that invite for Ben Roberts. He's going to need it. He's losing a lot of time already. He's lost about a second because of the AI. There we go, back to the action. Now, Psycho's going to maybe have a think about a second look here on lap 10. We're almost a third of the way through this race. He's not quite close enough this time of asking. Bit of a lull in this race at the moment, but the Steps is fighting with Sachetto for 10th place. Here comes the Williams in 10th. Down the main straight towards turn 1, past that they go. Steps has got a bit of ERS to use, and into 10th place goes the Williams. This is debut in Tier 1, and he's back where he qualified. He's got a bit of a gap to try and catch up to the back of his teammate X90G, who is right on the rear wing of the Predator. X90G, a former champ, of course, of the weekend league, looking to finish off the season on a stronger note. Has been quite a tough campaign for the seasoned veteran. He's trying to put the debutant under as much pressure as he can. Back at the front, Viper and Psycho still quite close together. Shortbread's just dropped away a little bit. Ben Roberts still hasn't returned to the lobby, unfortunately. It's going to bring Terra Teddy probably up a spot if he doesn't get in soon. And sure enough, I was going to say Terra Teddy, sure enough, going to overtake Ben Roberts, but Ben Roberts absolutely flying in a straight line under the AI. So that leading quintet has become a quartet thanks to Ben's disconnection. Oh, I don't know where Terra Teddy was going. He's trying to overtake Ben off on the grass now. That was a bit odd. Still watching this fight for the lead though. There's Terra Teddy right behind Ben Roberts on screen. You can see at the moment. And it's the Alfa Romeo, the Predator, who's under pressure from X90G, who at this point of the race looks like he's quicker than the Alfa Romeo. I'll tell you who is quicker than those two, though. The Steps is catching them hand over fist. Terra Teddy finally gets past the AI of Ben Roberts. But Natty G. Right. Well, was right there, but it looks like a little wobble on the exit at turn 13. He's lost a bit of time. The Steps has closed 2 seconds on these two. He is looking for more points on his debut in Tier 1. Back at the front, look how close this is between Psycho and Viper. Psycho right there, he's looking at the inside, but he won't be close enough for a move into turn 2. Viper using all of the road and the curve. It's so difficult, that corner through Tamburello. It's like a bit more of a drier line appearing at present. But we're still running well at the moment. I'd just say as well, there's quite a few drivers who've set 1 minute 25s at the moment. Everyone seems to be sort of running at a similar pace. If I look at the slowest lap, which is done by, let's just have a quick scan through, that is CT Pat. Now this is no bad effort from CT Pat. It's 126.4. Got loads of other cars around him, only a tenth so quicker. The fastest lap of the race is Joss on a 25.2. So it's very competitive between fastest laps for everybody at the moment. 1.2 separating those fastest laps. JMB Surreal is now past Ben Roberts, whose Ghost is just dropping him down. X90G is up to 8th place though, he got past the Predator. Just watching R. Peter and Billy Misu at the moment. As Viper goes and sets a new fastest lap of the race. 2 Ferraris running in 15th and 16th. Hasn't been a Ferrari day today in Tier 1 or Tier 2 as well. A bit of a miserable wet showing for the Tifosi, but as I said earlier, safety car can change all that. We saw that Psycho crashed out during qualifying. Someone else could do a similar mistake on the exit of Tamburello. Freddy Misu down in 13th after his error earlier on. Look how much speed he's got compared to Arpita. He's got to look at a move at Tosa. Up the inside, that is nicely done. Didn't really give Arpita a chance to say, no thank you, I'm not going to let you through. But Arpita back on the ERS. He's going to go past the AlphaTauri. Side by side at turn 9. Keeping it clean as close as they can together on the approach to turn 11 at Aqua Minerale. They can't get 2 through there. And Arpita goes off the road. He's gone off the road again, but he can't do anything this time. And Billy Misu forcefully takes that place. Now, there's an interesting one. GRL Viper into the pits. Our race leader has decided it's time for a new set of intermediate and a front wing change. So Viper had damage. Well, that explains why the pack was so close together, because Viper's been saying all week long he was hoping for some wet weather. It's going to drop him behind Arpita. Is he going to come out in front of Paths? That is the question. No, he's going to come out behind Paths. That's not ideal for Viper. He wanted a little bit more time than that. I didn't see Viper break his front wing, but fair play. He has been driving pretty well with a damaged car. Let's see what he could do now that he gets himself up to speed. He's going to go past Pat with not as much as a buy your leave, to be honest. He goes straight through. Now, interestingly, Psycho and Shortbread have got the hammer down and they've pulled away from Jolt. Ben Roberts has finally rejoined, which is good news, but he's lost a lot of time in relation to the cars. He was less than a second behind. He's now rejoining 13 seconds behind Jolt, which is such a shame. And Jolt's in the pits as well. So Jolt deciding it's time for another set of intermediates at this point in the race. Terra Teddy carries on to a current 3rd place. JMB Surreal carries on. It is new intermediates going on for the Haas car. Where will he come out in relation to Viper? He was not too far away. Sachetto in the pits as well. JMB Surreal's got past Terra Teddy. Now Terra Teddy, I think, has had a spin, and he has. He's gone backwards. Where is Terra Teddy? He's right off the road. He was in 3rd. He's got a 10-second time penalty, which shouldn't count because he spun off. Jolt's in front of GRL Viper because of his front wing change. But Viper is so close to the back of Jolt at the moment. That might change very quickly. Viper's showing some speed now that he's got a new front wing. X90G gets up to 4th place. JB Surreal, who had a really good Tier 2 race before, is on for 3rd place as it stands. There's still loads of pit stops to be enacted, yes. Joss has also passed his teammate for 14th position. Hopefully we can get Ben in. He's having a torrid time. But the front two of Psycho and Shortbread carrying on for another lap. The rain is certainly lighter. There's no real streaming on the front cam. There's a little tiny bit, but it's not really much. As the Predator and Billy Misu both decide now to get a new fresh set of intermediates on. And Viper, look at that lap time from GRL Viper. He's absolutely tearing time out. A 1:24. That is almost a second quicker than anybody else. Oh, right on a limit though. And that's Shari out. He's retired in the pits though, interestingly enough. So no safety car. CT Pat has made a pit stop, as has Billy Misu. He's going to get overtaken by Sachetto in their fight, and Viper goes past Terra Teddy, who unfortunately after his spin earlier has dropped him down to 10th place. Now Jolt has got stuck behind R. Peter and Viper is right there with him. This is the fight for 8th, 9th and 7th position at the moment. Shortbread hanging on to the back of Psycho, which is where he needs to be, and they're both in the pits, but Psycho's got a time penalty. Now, the gap between Psycho and Jolt was 28.5 seconds. Will they get out in front of the Haas driver? They were about a second clear when he pitted. This will be intriguing. Ben Roberts carries on and is back now in control of his car. The tyre whisperer was Ben at Jeddah. So here we go, down towards the start-finish line. Psycho and Shortbread are both exiting the pits now. And they're going to remain in front of Jolt and Viper, who are stuck behind our Peter. Gotta say though, good exit from Jolt. Trying to get alongside the Aston Martin, but he's not quite there. Now can he go around the outside? Contact! Jolt gets caught out by Peter. Viper takes 2 for the price of 1. That was just our Peter just losing the back end. It wasn't on purpose or anything like that. Sadly for Jolt, I hope he hasn't got any front wing damage from that. That would be really unfortunate. He's had a good race. He'll be annoyed at that one. Doesn't look like there's any damage on Jolt's car as far as I can see. So Ben Roberts leads the way. The Steps is in 2nd place. These two are yet to pit at the front as we overpass the halfway mark of this race. Number of drivers who have now stopped, of course. Still the odd driver out there on the intermediates, including our Peter, Terra Teddy, Joss, who's 9th, who has pitted, and Ben goes into the pits and the Steps follows him in. So that puts Psycho back into the lead of this race that he had before he pitted. Shortbread in 2nd, then it's Viper in 3rd. Jolt now clear of our Peter. He'll be a bit annoyed at that, but he is in 4th. Joss carries on. And it's J&B Surreal who's going to be in 4th, 5th place when Joss inevitably makes his pit stop. So this is a good showing for J&B. Had 3 good races at Imola this evening so far. There's Terra Teddy and our Peter dropping down the order. Terra Teddy will be kicking himself. He was briefly 3rd. He would have had the net lead in terms of drivers around him. Would have pitted earlier than what he's just now done. So he'll be a bit annoyed at that one. So what does Shortbread do in this position? Still got 14 laps remaining. Lots of time left for the end of the race. He's looking quite quick. Does he choose to keep pushing Psycho? I think he is going to keep pushing. Wants to try and get a race win if he can, as Ben picks up a time penalty. Down in 8th place at the moment is Ben Roberts, who was in the fight for the podium at one stage. Shortbread sets a new fastest lap of the race, so the Mercedes trying to go on ahead. Viper about 3 seconds back. There's a yellow flag in sector 3. That is Sachetto, who has got his car pointing the right way. He almost got stuck on the curb. It carries on regardless. Joss pits now as well, so he's had to make a second pit stop. He was running in the points. Ferrari's going to drop down probably to where Sachetto and Pat are at the moment. This has been a good recovery so far from the Ferrari. Whether he'll get any points remains to be seen, but he is trying. So far so good for the front two. Viper picks up another time penalty. He's trying so hard, but he has 9 seconds worth of penalties. Psycho's got penalty as well, so Shortbread just has to keep doing what he's doing. And he will be on for the champion. And that is now the Predator who picks up a time penalty. There aren't many cars left in this race that don't have one at the moment. Now, I will say that Viper has certainly been gapped by the front two. I think he's just struggling now. He's really he's almost over pushing the car to try and catch up. Ben Roberts sets the new fastest lap of the race, showing you how quick that Ben has been this evening and how gut-wrenching it is that he ended up having that disconnection, lost a couple of laps. But he is catching J&B Surreal, who's running in 5th place. Both AlphaTauris in the points with his sister car of Billy Misu in 10th. The closest fight on circuit, well, was Joss and Sachetto, but Joss goes up to 12th on his recovery drive. He's got a long way to go before he gets to the points, but he'll be buoyed by that. He's certainly showed some pace this afternoon in these difficult conditions. Still intermediate tyres. Really drying out at a rate that I thought it was going to. It seems to have just stayed the same. And Shari has now left, so the first retirement of the evening. The afternoon, of course, here at Imola, but the evening in terms of where we are commentating. Misu there in 10th position. Just following the Mercedes of Shortbread. Dropped a little bit back from Psycho. Psycho really pushing the car. He's trying to get away from Shortbread to end the season with a victory, but it's just going to be really difficult to do that as you come into the second third of the race now. 21 laps done. As Billy Misu goes past the Predator for 9th place. Oh, that is an Aston Martin round. That is our Peter off at turn 4. Oh, tries to squeeze Sachetto. Bit naughty, but Sachetto gets past him anyway. It's another place for Joss, though. And he now has 10 seconds to try and catch up to the back of the Predator, who is on for a podium, but with a very fast Ferrari, closing that gap down. AG running in 7th place. Sachetto picks up a time penalty. Quite a few of them bopping around now. It's been a long slog this race, it has to be said. Now Ben Roberts is within a second of J&B Surreal. Well, was until he ran a little bit wide there. Ben is certainly throwing the gauntlet down to the AlphaTauri in front of him. He does have a time penalty, does Ben? 3 seconds, but the pace that he's showing means that he should be able to get around this AlphaTauri, providing he navigates his way safely through what is a very narrow circuit. He's looking to try and get around him. A little closer. Arpita's come into the pits. So did Arpita break his front wing? He's retiring, in fact. So that's 2 cars out of the race, unfortunately. 2 Alpines currently occupying 13th and 14th position. Joss is absolutely flying, actually, on circuit at the moment. He's really driving well. Such a shame that what happened at the start, and he lost his front wing. And again, anything can happen in this race. Anything can happen in Gavra racing, and it usually does. There is not Money Game, who just asked a question. For those that are wondering, you can't see the Twitch chat. Money Game just asked, is there another race after this? There is not. It's 50% race in Tier 1. And we are 9 laps away from the end. And Shortbread is still within 5 seconds of Psycho. He's lost the gap that he did have to the race leader. And Ben Roberts is going past J&B Surreal for 5th place. And that is a move done for the McLaren. Good overtake. And Ben can now try and set off after the cars ahead. He's got Jolt up in 4th place, who's 11 seconds clear. But we'll be able to see what pace Ben could display in this remaining third of the race. Money Game putting another comment in there. I believe so. You can certainly do it next season, Money Game. It'd be good to see you in Tier 1. It's our Tier 2 champion, who, if you're unaware of Money Game 44, he won last week the championship of Tier 2, had some good results tonight. He hopefully will be racing in Tier 1 in F1 23. And of course, that's the thing for those that are watching. This is the last ever race of the Weekend League here at Gavra on F1 22, as Shortbread sets a new fastest lap. The new game comes out on Friday. If you've got early access, it'll come out on the Tuesday. So, new season will be beginning, commencing on the 2nd of July, and the evaluation race that will be around Monza, and then the full first race of the season, rounds 1 and 2, depending on what tier you're in, will be at Australia. Should be exciting to see. Josh sets another fastest lap of the race. I'll tell you something, Josh is flying. He's only 5 seconds behind the pro, so he's certainly on track to catch him and maybe even Billy Misu. Steps is run quite nicely in 8th place, but he's having a lonely one. Both Williamses are. Shortbread back to within a second of the Aston Martin in front. And what I will say, those that are watching on Gavra Racing and you're watching on Twitch or YouTube at the moment, do give us a follow and subscribe, possibly on, you know, in terms of Twitch and on the YouTube channel, depending on what one you're currently watching on at the moment. And loads of other platforms to check us out on within social media. We've got the Gavra Racing website. You can also check out the Discord as well. Loads of information gets posted on Discord all the time by Gavra. It's a wonderful racing community. Loads of different nationalities represented from across the world. It's really, really inclusive. Do come and check us out if you have the chance to do so, really. And if you want to get involved, you can sign up for the F1 23 season that's coming up soon. Like I say, that starts, the evaluation race starts on the 2nd of July. Full season starts on the 9th. Love to have you here. I'll be commentating on the Weekend League. Loads of spots remaining as well. And I know that you'll be able to race a number of the drivers who are out on circuit at the moment. Maybe you might have what it takes to challenge the front runners in this championship. But it's all gone a little bit of it. We're in a little bit of a lull of action at the moment. It's all very tense, of course. Shortbread on his way to winning the championship. He's only got 7 laps remaining after the one he's currently on. And he's just doing what he needs to do. He's not pushing too hard. He's keeping up with Psycho. He's on track to win the race thanks to Psycho's speeding in the pit lane penalty. Doesn't look like as if we're going to get any dry running in the rest of this race, so it'll come down to the driver's skill now to make up any more positions. Ben Roberts is catching Jolt, but not at a rate that's quick enough to see him get past. Sachetto picks up a time penalty. There's only 5 drivers now who yet to have a penalty in this race. That's Shortbread, JMB Surreal in 6th place, the Steps, Billy Misu, and Joss, who's in 11th. But he is 3 seconds behind the Predator and continuing to close. Might be a couple of fights later on at the end of this race that we can anticipate being very exciting as Viper picks up another time penalty. Viper's going to be off the podium at this rate. He's got 12 seconds worth of penalties and he's only 8 seconds clear of Jolt, who's got a 3-second penalty himself. So that has now become a tense fight for the last spot on the podium. So Viper's got to be careful. Doesn't want any more than that. It's not the person who's got the most penalties in this race. That's Terra Teddy, who's on 16. Who's running around in last place at the moment. CT Pat's in 13th. I'm sure he'll be happy with that result. It'd been nice to have seen him get a point this season. But it's going to take a very dramatic turn of events for that to change now. Shortbread back within a second of the race leading Psycho SM. Two seconds between JMB Surreal and Natty G, so that gap is closing. And it's 2 seconds between the Steps and Billy Misu, and a second between the Predator and Josh. So we are starting to see some convergence in the gaps, including the race leader Short and Psycho as well. A couple of laps remaining. We could have some fireworks yet. If we can cut down for the race director to cut to 10th place, because Josh is right on the back of that Alfa Romeo. Josh is going to recover into the points as it stands, thanks to the Predator's penalty. Ferrari looking into turn 9 at Tosa hairpin. Nice exit, good use of gears from him. The Predator trying to hang on to that, what would be a first point. But Josh has looked so immense in this race. If you take out Josh's pit stop and front wing change, he would be running in 3rd place at the moment, which just shows you how quick he has been this evening. And even Ben Roberts with his problems would be up there. So those two have got a dark horse of a chance for next season, certainly, at the Tier 1 Championship. Especially with Ben having won a couple of races this season and Josh having scored his first podium. He has looked very quick. Can he make an overtake on this lap as we approach the next stage of the race on lap 28? Oh, he's got the overspeed on Predator. There isn't anything he can do in the Alfa Romeo. And through goes Josh. And that is a recovery drive into the points. He's got fastest lap as well, Josh. So it's not 1 point he's going to get, it'll be 2. X90G is now almost within a second of JMB Surreal. He's pushing on hard. Ben Roberts is flying in 5th place as well. He's really closing that gap to Psycho. The gap was 20 seconds at the start of this stint for Ben. He's now 15 behind the race leader. Really demonstrating it. And Viper's got another time penalty. So that is certainly looking like a podium for Jolt. And Ben might still get 4th. It's not far away from that happening at the moment. Shortbread's lost a bit of time to Psycho, and I can see why. Psycho's just using a blast of the ERS there. He's got a lot less than what he had earlier. He still needs to find 3 and a bit seconds, Psycho, to win this race. But Natty G now is on the back of JMB Surreal for 6th position. You can see that on the camera that we've got here. You can see the fashion house of AlphaTauri's rear wing emblazoned on the dark blue and white colour scheme. You can see how quick Natty is. It's going to look to the outside line at Toast. A lot of people get a good amount of traction off there. Oh, Natty just not quite close enough. He's really putting the pressure on though. JMB Surreal has had 2 very good races this evening. 3 good races, I should say, because of Tier 2 running 2 races back to back. Oh, that's a little bit wide from the AlphaTauri. Oh, Natty can't get on the power early enough, and he actually goes on the grass. He just about saved it. That could have been a horrible moment as Psycho sets the fastest lap, and again, Natty knows he's got a chance at 6th place. But he's got to get past the AlphaTauri and then pull a 3-second gap on him, which might be difficult to do. JMB has driven a really solid race. Billy Meeksu's only a second and a bit behind the steps as well, so both Williams cars in the fight for points. It's not going to be close enough, Natty, on this lap. We've got 3 laps remaining. JMB Surreal, oh, he's just a little bit deep. Can Natty get a good run off the exit of Tamburello? Not quite. And he's remained behind this staunch defence from JMB. It's a good line through both corners from JMB Surreal. Oh, Natty's very good on the exit of a couple of these corners. He's got a lot of mid-corner speed. He's getting cheered on by the Williams drivers as well in Tier 2, is Natty G, and the steps. Oh, over the curb. He clamped the curb a little bit too much, did Natty G, and that's just going to drop him away. This is the closest fight on circuit, though. As we go on to the penultimate lap, and Shortbread is just 2 laps away from the championship. What a moment this will be. Become a 4-time champion of Gavra. But Natty G is trying to gain that time on JMB Surreal. He's a lot closer this time. He's in the wheel tracks. He's got the slipstream. He's going to move to the outside line on the AlphaTauri. They're both not changing gear for 8th gear, and JMB Surreal can't hold on. But he goes a bit wide, does Natty G. Can he do the switch back? The AlphaTauri can't quite get there. Oh, that's a good move. Oh, Natty G braked a little bit earlier than JMB Surreal was expecting. Big twitch, but carries on. JMB just needs to stay 3 seconds behind. Oh, big slide out of Tosa. And that's dropped that gap to half a second already. He's going to have to be careful. Psycho has fastest lap of the race, by the way. There's a brief yellow flag at the final sector then, but nothing doing. I'll tell you something, Ben Roberts has absolutely sived the gap. That he's 13.5 seconds behind Psycho. As he gone to this final lap, he's only 2 seconds behind Jolts. I if Jolt's been caught sleepwalking or something on this lap. And look at that, new fastest lap of the race. Ben Roberts is flying. But we are on this last lap, and you are watching Shortbread. He is in prime position to not just win the race, the championship as well. Viper has thrown everything at it this evening. But he is just going to come up short by the looks of it as Shortbread goes through turn 9. Only 2 kilometers remaining for the Mercedes. Psycho will cross the line in first, and he's driven excellently, but that pit lane, speeding in the pit lane penalty is just going to end up making him finish in second in the end. Over the curbs for Shortbread. 2 corners to go after this little kink right. Take your time, Shortbread. On the brakes, down into 3rd gear. He knows it's coming. He's going to be a four-time world champion at Gavra Racing. Shortbread 224 wins the race, and he wins the championship at Tier 1. It is Shortbread 224 is your champion. Psycho is second. Viper is going to end up third. No, he's going to end up fifth thanks to his penalties. Jolt gets third. Ben Roberts so close to fourth and getting a podium in the end, but he ends up there. Viper fifth. Natty G is going to finish in seventh place, not sixth. Oh, JB Surreal's crashed at the final corner. He's crashed before he got to the finish line. Oh, would you believe it? So Natty G ends up sixth. The steps is seventh. Billy Misu 8th, JB Surreal, and recovery of the day goes to Josh in 10th place. The other drivers will cross the line in the remaining moments, but it's Shortbread who is your champion of Tier 1, Season 7, Season 8, Season 11, 12. We will be interviewing him, of course, and as many drivers as we can to finish off the season. I'm sure Psycho probably won't join, but I know that Jolt potentially will. Viper will no doubt want to have a chat. But it is Shortbread who's the race winner. Hopefully Ben Roberts will want to join in as well. Ben Roberts saying that recovery belongs to me. You didn't have a pit stop, my friend. Josh did, and it was a very good result. But yours was equally impressive. So we're going to go over to the podium celebrations. Well, we would have done, but it looks as if that Gav's had a bit of a problem with the with his PlayStation 4 there. But we'll cut over to the driver's lounge, and if anybody does want to join, so Ben, Viper, everyone who's listening in on the chat, if you are racing in Tier 1, do join. I will run out the final standings though, just so we've got them. Shortbread is your race winner and Season 12 champion. Psycho SM was second, Jolt was third, Ben Roberts fourth, JRL Viper in fifth, a valiant effort in the end, but came up short in the championship. Then the two Williamses of Natty G and the Steps were sixth and seventh. Billy Misu is eighth with JMB Surreal ninth, and Josh recovering to 10th. The remaining finishes, the Predator in 11th, Sachetto in 12th, good result for Pat in 13th, Terra Teddy was 14th, and the only two non-finishers this evening, the Aston Martin of R. Peter and the Ferrari of Shari 17. So we will hope everybody to join into the chat area. I'm sure that Shortbread will be very happy to join in. A couple of people who are joining into the chat area, so we'll have a chat with those shortly. We'll wait for everybody to ensure that they get the chance to join in. We did briefly have somebody, I don't know who it was, but they've just exited. We know we've got a couple of people who aren't joining in for the chat. I'm looking forward to having a conversation with everybody. So I'll just take a few moments to get everybody in. I've got Jolt and Ben in the chat, and Viper has also joined. So we'll just wait for our champion to come in. So here we go. We've got a good few people who've jumped into the interview area. We've got quite a lot actually. Even Psycho has joined, which is good to see. I did say I wasn't sure if Psycho was going to join. It'd be the first time we've heard him. But we'll have a chat with all those in a moment. I'm just waiting for Shortbread. You'd think for a champion who was, especially quick in the races all the way through the season, he'd be especially quick to get into the chat area. But here we are. In fact, it's saying that Shortbread is saying that the interview area is full. Which, is that the case? Can you only get 6 people in the interview area? Right, tell you what, whoever is in the interview area at the moment, just one of you, can you leave so that we could get Shortbread in, and then we'll tell you when to come back in, because I want to make sure I interview everybody.
I'll leave. Yeah.
Thanks, Ben. I'll tell you when back in. So we've got someone who's just joined. So let's have a... And then for some unknown reason, somebody else has decided to join. Whoever's just joined, can you leave? We are trying to get Shortbread into this interview area.
Yes,
Well,
because it's 6. It's 6
Yeah.
people. It's the limit is 6.
Hopefully this time, no, now people are just taking the mick. But we are just waiting. I do apologise for anyone who is. Hey, at long. Great news. So we can now have a chat with our season 12 champion, Shortbread 224. How does it feel?
Yeah, like you said, it's got a good ring to it, isn't it? I did, coming into the season, I didn't really expect that, to be honest. I was kind of mad to be able to get it, and then even win today, I wasn't expecting that at all. So, yeah, I'll take that. Not bad.
You've had one of those seasons this year which has been absolutely fantastic. This evening you were right in it from the start, no messing about. You were in the front pack, just doing what you needed to do. What was your moment for you in the season when you just thought, I can have this?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think after Miami, when I completely messed up with the strategy, completely wrong, ended up like 7th or something, I thought I was over, but the race after that, I think it was Portugal, I did quite well, and I was close to Viper, so I thought, oh, now it actually could be a possibility, like more chance, so may have been that race, I think.
Well, I mean, I do remember Portimao. That was certainly a good set of race. That was a good race for yourself. How does this championship compare to the other 3? Because you're a 4-time champion now in Gavra. How does that stack up?
Yeah, I think this season probably was the toughest out of them all. I think this was the first one Viper was fully in. I don't think he was in any other ones. He just did reserves, so he wasn't really in it. So this was probably the most difficult. Some of them are even on F1 2021 now, so it feels like ages ago. But yeah, I think this is probably the most difficult one.
Yeah, absolutely. It was certainly close between you and Viper all the way through the season. Both of you were taking points off each other, and then we come to today, and you've boxed off the championship. What do you think then in terms of next season? We'll be on a new game, BF1 23. Do you think you'll have a target on your back now because back-to-back championship results, 4-time champion? Do you think you're the one to beat for next year?
Well, I'm not actually going to be in here next season. I'm going to take a season off, so I won't be here this next season coming up for the summer, but I think I will come back for the season after, so where I guess there'll be another one, so I won't be here for this, and I think I'll just be busy, so it won't really make much sense if I miss a couple of races, just be unfair to someone else, so they could take the seat, so it was just fair I miss a season and come back hopefully after.
Are we going to see a cameo from you next season if there's a space?
You may do, you may do. That's what I was thinking. So keep your eye out. You may see me on track on one of the races.
That was dramatic, that, ladies and gentlemen. That was like Mika Hakkinen taking a sabbatical. That was something that I've not seen. But in the meantime, if you are having a season out, enjoy your sabbatical. I'm sure we'll see you back soon. And enjoy the championship. Congratulations.
Yeah, cheers, man. I just want to say quick, you've done a great job commentating. This season's been great to watch the streams. So yeah, I'm glad to see you back next season as well. Doing a great job.
Thank you very much. Well done. So pop all the champagne you can, or if you've got anything.
Yeah. Oh, well, cheers.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go over to our second place in the championship, to Viper, because obviously one of the other championship protagonists, I think it's only fair that we have a chat with him before we go to Psycho. Viper, it wasn't your race in the end. We did see some absolute chaos at the start. Tell us it from your perspective. How are you feeling, first of all?
Well, to be fair, I was just waiting for the last lap in the last corner. To be fair, it was a very difficult race. The pace, it was there, but I just couldn't really convert it. At the start, when I got wing damage at the start, yellow wing damage, it was really difficult to keep the pace, because I thought when I had that wing damage, I was kind of going away. It was like a second, then until Psycho passed Shortbread and got closed the gap down again. But it was very difficult to keep the pace. Hence why I was so much penalties, because now the understeer is just absolutely crazy. Just washed all over the car. I couldn't really turn, and then that's why I pit so early, so I can try and get some time back. But I don't think the undercut really worked out, because I lost like 5 seconds. But it does happen. But this race, I was just waiting for the last corner, because it was a season to forget for me.
Yeah. I mean, what was your favourite moment this season for you? Because you did come really close to your first title. You're certainly going to be one of the favourites for next season, especially with Shortbread announced a sabbatical. So, what was your favourite moment for this season?
So first of all, let's get cleared up. He's not going to be the only one in this sabbatical. I will also be, because I'm going to be missing 2 races guaranteed. So I don't really want to
Right.
miss.
Okay.
So it's going to be me and Shortbread, the main ones out. And of course, if I can try next season, then it will happen. Maybe not. Maybe I'm not sure what's going to happen for the future. But hopefully, this season, I think it was probably either France, because from after France I felt really good, as well as Portimao as well. It was quite a decent race, but that collision with Shortbread, that's when it started slowly going downhill. But I did get an LP1, but I decided myself, with my unkindness, to raise it to a 10-second and give Shortbread P2 and take myself 10 points off. And yeah, it just France probably was my best one, because I was really, really on the pace, and that's when I thought maybe I can win this championship. Maybe I can take Shortbread's throne off and put myself on it. But it didn't really work out this season with Miami. With pace was good. Canada, 2 clutch problems, which are related to the game, not my actual thing, my wheel, because I did try after the race and it did not work. Then we've got Saudi Arabia, no comment. And then we've got Imola, which it was alright, but I think if we didn't get our wing damage, I could have maybe got P2 and even the win. But P5, I'm happy with that. At least I cut P2 in the championship. That's something to be happy of, as well as not losing constructors as well. Of course, Dino couldn't attend because of his internet, but it happens. League racing can be very harsh, and just got to accept that reality. But it was a very difficult race, difficult season not to improve on and to take out. And I think everyone just went to my line, but just the game just decided to say no and absolutely screws me over. But of course, congratulations to Shortbread for the title as well, because he's done an amazing job. His pace was just amazing since after Miami. He's really, really, really took advantage of my errors and mistakes, and he converted into wins, pole positions, and a lot of good pace. But he deserved that championship. But you know, it happens. But hopefully, the season after, I can try and maybe fight for the championship again. But we'll see.
Well, I'm looking forward then to you two coming back in 2 seasons' time for a full-on onslaught for the championship. That'll be exciting to watch on F1 23. But, you know, second place of the season, Viper, not the end of the world. It's probably your best finishing position in Gavra for the championship. So well done
Yep.
on that, and we'll see you soon.
Great, and also thank you for the commentary this season. It's been very, very good, and appreciate it as well as Saudi Arabia. Me and Shortbread definitely kept you always on that line. But great, thanks for the commentary, and I'll see you all the season after. And good luck to everyone in the grid for season 13.
Thank you, Viper. Appreciate that. I'm going to cut it over then to the man who finished third across the line but ended up in second place in the end. And I think this will be the first time I get the chance to speak with Psycho. If you're there, if you're, you know, if you can unmute your mic for us, I don't know if you can hear us.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, Psycho. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
You must be sweating after that race because you had some pace there.
Yeah, but made a mistake when I was going into the pits with Shortbread. I was looking behind to see if he was gonna pit, and then I just went in way too hot into the pits and then got a 5-second penalty.
Yeah. That seemed just to skew the race towards Shortbread in the end because it was always going to be hard to pull that 5 seconds. I want to go back to lap 1 though, because what happened there at the start? Because that I cannot believe you saved that. Did you go on the curb?
Yeah, I went. I got a good start. I think I was in P1. I'm not sure if Viper was next to me, but I got a good start. And then I was looking behind me. I went onto the curb, and then I just felt my wheel go really light, and then it started spasming. So I had to try and correct it all over the place. I'm not sure if I hit Viper. I don't know. If I did, that was a mistake. But I didn't feel anything at the time, or I didn't feel any contact then. But I'll have to watch it back. But that could have gone really bad. I almost went into the wall there. Like same as it happened in Saudi last week.
I was just about to refer to that because that would have been 2 lap 1 incidents in a row, which would have been really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Now, with Shortbread and Viper not taking part next season in terms of a full campaign, you must be thinking chance at a championship here.
Yeah, I don't know because Ben Roberts is still Ben Roberts is still racing and he's quite fast. I think he's beat me on some of the tracks where I've raced, but yeah, I would have liked to fight for the championship this season, but I was a bit late to sign up, so I was in tier 2 for the first few races.
Yeah,
but doesn't matter. I'm happy with the performances that I've put in so far.
I'm going to ask you one last question before you go. What is your target for next season?
I'm not going to say the championship. I want to say more wins and more pole positions, because I feel like in the seasons that I've competed in, not 2021, but 2022, all the seasons I've competed in, I've been getting P2s, P3s, or maybe like the odd pole position, but not enough to like really contend. I've just been getting like P2s in qualifying or P2s in the race, and I just want to like start getting on the top step, basically.
Absolutely, I can understand that, Psycho. Well done on this evening. You're almost there in terms of that race win. And maybe a couple, I think it's going to come that way maybe next season. But look forward to seeing you in Tier 1 next time out.
Yeah, you too, man. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Right, I'm going to go over then to... We've got a few people to interview, so I'm just going to work my way through. I'm going to go over to the man who finished in third place in the end, which was Jolt in the Haas, who's had a pretty good campaign, actually. Has Jolt. Hopefully you can hear me. If you've unmuted your mic, Jolt, I don't know if you have. There we go.
Good evening.
Good evening to you. That seemed like a tough race. What did you make of it?
Yeah, it was like, I don't know, my wet pace is not very good overall. And the start was pretty okay. I felt like I was on a really different setup than the rest of around me. because I was gaining all the way through the lap, but on the straights they were gaining so much on me.
Yeah.
So that was tough, and I think if Ben Roberts didn't disconnect, he would have overtook me 100%.
Mm.
But yeah, that was a bit unfortunate, of course, for him. But after I pitted, I came behind an Aston Martin. I don't know who it was, and I tried to overtake him, and he got a massive snap of oversteer, and he punched my front wing, so I got front wing damage for the rest of the race
Right. Okay.
after I pitted. So
Yeah.
and it was my pace was really gone, and yeah.
I was
But
wondering
overall,
what had
still
happened.
P3. So
Yeah, I mean, the P3 is a great result for you. I was going to say we saw the contact between yourself and it was the R Peter and the Aston. You just lost the back end, and you were just an innocent victim in all of that. Didn't
yeah,
realise you'd broke your front wing though. So that's unfortunate. I mean, how have you rated this season though? Do you think it's been a good one for you? You've been in the commentary booth with me a couple of times, so it must
yeah.
be too.
I think every race I finished, I ended P3 or P2 because I didn't participate in 3 races, and the other ones I only finished P3 and P2, I think. So that's quite good, actually. I would, of course, I would love it to participate in every race. I would have seen what happened then, but yeah, it just couldn't work. I just couldn't be there. So maybe for the next season we will have a chance to have a fight at the championship. But yeah, we will see.
Are you aiming for race victories next season? Because, like you said, you've had a couple of podiums. Is that the next step now?
Yeah, I don't know. Of course, I would love to. I also, I've like the same issue that I think Psycho said. I've got a pole this season, but I'm still finishing P2, P3, and cannot. My race pace is just not there when it needs to be there. So I hope for the next season I can work at that and get the wins in.
Yeah, absolutely, Joel. Well done on the P3, especially with the broken front wing. That's a really good drive considering the circumstances, and hopefully we'll see you again for next season on F123.
Thank you very much, and yeah, thank you very much for the commentating. It was very
Thank you.
good. Bye bye.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Joel. Still 2 more people to interview. We're going to go to Ben Roberts now, who's been waiting patiently and also left to get Shortbread in so he can have his time in the sun. Ben, are you there? You've muted your mic, by the way, just
Hello.
so you know.
Yeah.
Well, this was a race of arguably what could have been. So I'll start with the first question. What happened?
Yeah, well, first of all, congratulations to Shortbread and Viper. Obviously, it's been a great season, Hamilton and Verstappen-esque almost. But yeah, I noticed that the screen just kind of went and everyone started kind of disconnecting, saying that they'd left the session. So I quickly ran to my Wi-Fi box and it was just flashing orange. I was like, oh no. Managed to obviously get back in and try and just recover the race really. When I came back in I was like, what, P4? I'm still in P4, what has gone on? But yeah, obviously didn't realise that Viper had to pit from wing damage and a couple other things. Obviously people were pitting, it was around lap 16 by that point, so I was just trying to get it reset so that I could get back into the race. But yeah, I think it was a good recovery, but it was a bit disappointing because I was right behind obviously the top 4 in P5, and I think what I'd done is just taken a few points of downforce off what my wet setup normally was, because I didn't know whether it would be dry for the race, even though the forecast told it was wet, but sometimes it can be a bit different. But yeah, I think by knocking a few points of downforce off, I was really quick on the straights, and actually the further I got into the race, the better my pace was. And I was able to kind of chip away at the lead of the other few. I don't think I'd have been able to win the race, but I think I'd have been right there with the top 2. I set that fast lap right at the end. So yeah, I think I had the pace today. It's a bit disappointing.
You're mentioning the pace, Ben. Your pace was probably the fastest man on circuit. You were siving time at the drivers in front. I did distinctly remember saying that you were 20 seconds behind at the start of your second stint, and you ended up 13 or something like that behind Psycho at the end of the race, which just showed you how quick you were.
Yeah.
And I would say, and I was saying this to the audience who were watching, the spectators, to say that had it not been for the loss of time that you'd have had, and the same for Joss for that matter, because you both had weird parallel races in terms of time lost,
Yeah.
that you both would have been fighting for podiums and the race win. You must surely sit there and think, next season, with Shortbread not being around fully and Viper not being around fully, this is an opportune moment for you to take a Tier 1 title.
Yeah, well, I hope so. Obviously, I've never won the Tier 1 title. I think this season I knew maybe a couple races ago really that I wasn't really in contention for the championship, but obviously just giving it everything. Didn't really do too much practice today, but I do love the wet conditions. I think it suits my driving style. I'm very smooth on the throttle and just able to kind of maximise the traction out of each corner. So yeah, I mean, Imola's not even a great track for me normally. So I think, yeah, definitely for next season. Obviously, it's on a new game, but yeah, I'll try and give it my everything. I've pre-ordered the special edition, so I get it 3 days early. So I'll be straight on there and trying to improve my pace and yeah, try and get a title for next season.
So my final question to you then, what do you have to do? You're a race winner this season, you're a two-time race winner this season. What do you have to improve on to be champion in season 13?
I think it's my overall pace in the race sometimes and just consistency really. There was a couple of races in Canada and Portimao where I had the spin. I think it's just cutting out those mistakes, getting my race pace right up there with Viper and Shortbread. There was a couple of races where I was really able to challenge, and then a few others where I was like, well, I don't think I'm going to be anywhere near them. So it's just about getting that consistency in, and yeah, just trying to improve my race graph really.
Well, you're going to be heading in as one of the title favourites alongside Psycho for next season, so all the best for them. Look forward to commentating on that fight between you two.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll be in the Haas for next season, so maybe a bit of a downgrade, but yeah, hopefully go strong. Thanks for the commentary, mate.
No problem. Thank you very much. I'm going to go over to the Steps, who this is the second time I've interviewed the Steps today, but I'm sure he'll be happy to have a chat about his run during today's session. I also want to say that I've got CT Patton who I'm going to talk to afterwards because I do want to have a chat with him. But the Steps, to you, so you had two races earlier, maybe a bit of an eye-in for tonight. How have you made your debut in Tier 1?
Yeah, I'm kind of speechless right now. I spent the last 15 minutes on my phone writing notes titled "What am I going to say right now?" I gave up, but yeah, if P10 in the qualifying and then P7, basically best of the rest in the race on my debut in Tier 1, if I can manage to keep it up for the next season, I'm gonna be more than happy with myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I was saying that you showed some really good pace. You were keeping up with your teammate X90G, who's a Formula champion within Gavra Racing. So that's really positive start. You, what did you make of the wheel-to-wheel battles? Because you seemed like you had a little bit of a gap at points, but early on in the race, were you just thinking keep it on the road, keep it clean, or what were you thinking?
Yes, I always go into the race with mentality. You don't need to be fast, just be consistent. Don't make mistakes, and you will finish. And I finished. I waited basically for everyone else to make a mistake, and yeah, I got 3 places out of that. So yeah, I always go for strategy, consistency.
Were you surprised to get 7th because of the AlphaTauri facing the wrong way on the final corner?
I would be surprised if I wasn't surprised about that. So no, I wasn't expecting that. 100%.
What is because obviously we chatted earlier in the Tier 2 commentary area in the interviews afterwards. You're looking to join Tier 1 next year. if you do get into Tier 1, what is your aim for next season?
My aim for the next season, give me a sec, I need to check something real quick.
Of course.
Yeah, Ben Roberts is gonna be my teammate next year. So yeah, my overall goal is to be Valtteri Bottas to his Lewis Hamilton,
Ah, okay.
the best rear gunner he can ever ask.
Well, I'll tell you what, that is a strategy to plan for, Steps. Well done on the 7th place today. That's a good result. And we'll see you next season.
Thank you, and I would like to also congratulate Showbread and Viper. It was amazing. I watched the whole season. It was honestly better than the real life F1. Thank you, Jack, for commentating. I really enjoy everything about the way you commentate, and thanks Gavra for organizing these things. Even though it's my first season here, and basically the first time I ever drove in a, let's say, a league. It was really, really amazing, and I had so much fun that I want to continue as long as I can. So thank you again, everyone. Congratulations to everyone, and Money Game. I don't want to forget him. And yeah, let's have a great time next season, and the next, and the next, and the next, and beyond.
Thank you very much, Steps. Appreciate your time, buddy. See you next season.
Thank you, and have a great day. Night.
Good evening. Right, we've got one last driver to interview, and this is a driver I've been wanting to interview for quite a while, actually. We're going over to CT Pat. CT Pat, can you hear us?
Good evening, yes.
Ah, hi there. So, I'm glad we were able to have a chat because you've been a driver who I've kept an eye on through the season. Because I know you haven't scored points this season, which is absolutely fine. Because that's what league race is all about in terms of improving. How have you found the league this season then?
I was rookie in this league. I started the first league ever, so it was pretty good. Like it was a competition for me. Like I'm not the best driver in the grid. I'm honest with myself and honest with everyone. But as you said, it's totally okay in the league because it gives some players who doesn't score points or are not on the front on the grid, but that's totally fine. I'm very happy I could make every race. I did every race in the league.
You did.
And I had today was my best race overall because I had a lot of problems in the other races like incidents I got involved in and I don't know if you got that with the bot in the boxing in the pit lane. I can't leave the pit lane because a bot was stuck in there. But today I was very consistent, not that much pace, but consistent and didn't have an accident. So I'm pretty happy with myself.
Yeah, I was going to say because you had an amazing start. You went from 15th to 10th. How did you manage that?
It was pretty hectic at the start. I became good on the. I had a lot of traction at the start and could make 2 places, just driving straight. And before, in front of me, it had an accident. I was a little bit worried. The drivers behind me hit me because I had to break up really hard. But it went everything well, and I could hold my place for some laps. But yeah, the pace wasn't that good that I can hold it. But the starting is my how do I say it? I'm strong at the start. So I don't know why, but starting is my game. After that, it's getting but Formula One is not just a start; it's a completely race. So yeah.
Are you going to return? Just a quick one. Are you going to return for next season?
Yeah, I already signed up.
Fantastic. Because I wanted to ask, because because like I said, I've kept an eye on you, and I've made a mention of you a few times in the lobby to people who are watching to say that it's not just about scoring the wins, getting the podiums, points, whatever. It's about improving race on race. And I remember your debut at the start of the season. Your qualifying pace was a little bit off the rest of the pack, but by tonight, you were right in the pack. Fighting for 14th, 13th place in qualifying, which is really competitive. So my
Yeah.
question to you, Pat, is what do you need to do next season? What are you hoping to improve on?
I definitely on my curve, like apex. I have a little problem with apex, but I don't know if you know. I'm a little bit in trouble with my apartment space, so I cannot drive with a driving wheel right now. I don't have space for it, so I drove the whole season with a controller. I just waiting end of the month getting my new apartment and sitting in my chair again.
Yeah.
So I hope that it went better then, but we see. But I have to improve my apex and my speed through the corners.
All right. Well, I hope then, Pat, that you can not only get your new apartment, which will be nice, but also get the chance to have that room to get your wheels set up, because I'm sure we'll see a big improvement from you with the wheel.
I hope so. I hope so. I have to get used again, but I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic.
Well,
Yeah.
let's tell you what, Pat. Thank you very much for joining this evening. I've wanted to have an interview with you for a while. I appreciate you joining. All the best for next season.
Yeah. So at this point, I want to say thank you to you, as everyone else, to you and Gavra, to organize you the comment. You're doing a very very good job. My friends who watching the stream says also that you're doing a very good job. And Gavra, I'm thanking you for your passionating, holding our community together, and yeah, just a really really big thank you to you two guys. I really appreciate it, and I enjoyed a lot.
It's really nice words. Really nice words. Thank you very much for that, Pat.
You're welcome.
Okay, so that is it then for F1 22 here at Gavra Racing. What a season it has been. The Tier 2 champion of Money Game 44 running away with the championship in the end, and Shortbread 224 winning the Tier 1 championship here tonight at Imola. It has been a fabulous set of races, and Gavra Racing will be back, of course, on the 2nd of July for that evaluation race. And if you're watching right now and thinking about getting involved, please do sign up. Go onto the Gavra Racing website, of course. It's the Alta Vista link for those that are curious. Definitely get on there, sign yourself up for next season. It's not just about winning, it's not just about point scoring and podiums and the glory. It's also about improving and being part of what is a wonderful community here that is very inclusive and has a range of diverse backgrounds, which is what it's all about at the end of the day. Do come and join us on our social media channels, of course, within Discord, as well as TikTok and our other social media elements to go and check out, which I would certainly recommend you do. I'm Jack TM53, your commentator for Tier 1 and Tier 2. I want to say a big thank you to everybody who took part this season, and to Gav himself, who's been organising and keeping this community together. If you're not just a fan of Formula 1 and you want to go and race on Gran Turismo, do check it out. We've got leagues on Gran Turismo 7 that you can check out. Give us a follow as well on Twitch, and a subscription on YouTube if you can. It'd be really, really good to get as many people watching what is a really good community racing and a wonderful dynamic spirit. But we'll be back on the 2nd of July for that evaluation race. Get yourself signed up for that. But from all of us here at Gavra Racing and F1 22, we'll be back on F1 2023 in less than 4 weeks' time. And wherever you might be in the big wide world, have a good one. See you soon.